What if I told you Spider-Man has awakened powers so terrifying, so reality-breaking, so unnatural that even he is afraid of himself? Powers that distort time, manipulate minds, create living shadows, and connect him to something ancient, something that was watching him long before the spider bite. In this video, you will see the first moment Spider-Man lost control of his own body, the impossible mutation scientists can't explain, the cosmic force tied to his very existence, and the secret truth that could make Peter Parker the most dangerous being in Marvel history. This isn't an upgrade, it's an awakening, and by the end, you may never see Spider-Man the same way again. Peter Parker had always lived with chaos, but this was different. It began with nightmares, visions of enormous spider creatures crawling through dimensional cracks, whispering in languages older than Earth itself. Every time Peter woke up, his room felt wrong. Objects moved, webbing appearing on walls, and sometimes he found himself clinging to the ceiling with no memory of how he got there. But the real horror began during a quiet night in Times Square. A man stumbled into traffic, seconds from death. Peter jumped to save him, and the entire world froze. The bus stopped mid-air. People stood motionless like statues, even the blinking neon lights froze in place. Peter was the only moving thing in the universe. This wasn't spider sense, this was temporal control. He dragged the man out of the bus's path, and the moment he let go, reality snapped back with a violent shockwave. Peter stared at his hands. What did I just do? Shaken, Peter rushed to Dr. Connors. Hours of tests later, Connors returned pale and trembling. Peter, your DNA is mutating again. But this isn't like last time. Peter tried to joke, but Connors cut him off. You're no longer just human. You're no longer just spider. Your DNA is matching. Something external. Peter laughed nervously. What does that even mean? Connors whispered. It means you're changing into something we don't have a name for. That night, Peter had the most vivid vision of all. A colossal spider entity rose from the shadows, with glowing red veins and eyes that moved independently like orbiting moons. It spoke with thousands of overlapping voices. Peter Parker, your power was never an accident. Peter collapsed to his knees. What are you? The entity's answer chilled him. I am the one who chose you. The vision vanished, but Peter woke up with a glowing symbol burned into his wrist. A spiraled web, a mark of belonging. The next day, Peter discovered a horrifying new ability. Not full sentences, just intentions, desires, impulses aimed at him. A mugger hiding, a thief preparing to strike. He felt them. His spider sense had evolved into a psychic web, connecting him to the minds around him, like feeding on the energy. Peter began to fear the truth. This wasn't an upgrade, it was a transformation. Peter's breaking point came during a fight with the Shocker. As Shocker released a blast, Peter jumped and suddenly split into multiple versions of himself. 8 Spider-Men, each one fast, powerful, and disturbingly silent. They weren't illusions. They were physical, made of a swirling shadow web substance that crawled with red patterns. The clones overwhelmed Shocker instantly, but when Peter reabsorbed them, the pain nearly knocked him unconscious. The Avengers arrived just in time to watch him collapse. Captain America pulled back in shock. Peter, what have you become? Peter whispered. I don't know. Desperate, Peter went to Doctor Strange. When Strange examined the glowing symbol on Peter's wrist, his eyes widened. This is not from our universe. This is the mark of the web of origins, a cosmic network older than time. Peter felt cold. So the spider bite Strange cut him off. It wasn't random. It wasn't an accident. The radiation didn't mutate the spider. It awakened it. You were chosen, Peter. Peter shook his head. No, I'm just some guy. You were never just anything, Strange said. And now you're becoming a conduit for the web of origins. If the transformation completes, Peter Parker will cease to exist. Strange made him swear never to use the new powers again, not the time freeze, not the psychic web, not the shadow clones. Every use brings you closer to becoming something else, Strange warned. Something that might not be human or controllable. Peter nodded. He believed him, until the invasion started. It began with a ripple in the sky, a tear in reality, and from it emerged the creatures from Peter's nightmares. Massive spider-like entities with glowing red veins. They crawled through the rift, searching for him. Peter stood on a rooftop, heart pounding. He knew one terrible truth. He couldn't stop them with his old powers. Not without activating the new ones, not without risking the final transformation. He looked at the mark on his wrist. It glowed like a heartbeat. Please. Not this, he whispered. But the creatures screamed. But the creatures screamed and the city was in danger. Peter closed his eyes. Shadows erupted in thousands. A cosmic spider form unfolded behind him, larger than buildings. And Peter Parker began to disappear inside it. The screen cuts to black, and that's only the beginning. Spider-Man's evolution has just begun. If you want part 2 of this terrifying transformation, make sure to subscribe, comment, and share this video. Your support keeps the Nerd Multiverse growing, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next.